कृते ऋतपथे त्वयि राम कृष्णे मर्त्यामृतं तव पदं मरणोन्विनाशम् तस्मात् त्वमेव शरणं मम दीनबन्धो कृत्यं करोति कलुषं कुहकान्तकारी स्नान्तं शिवं सुविमलं तव नाम नाथ यस्मादहं त्वशरणो जगदेकगम्य तस्मात् त्वमेव शरणं मम दीनबन्धो ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः ॐ नमः श्री भगवते रामकृष्णाय नमो नमः ॐ नमः श्री भगवते रामकृष्णाय नमो नमः ॐ नमः श्री भगवते रामकृष्णाय नमो नमः। सर्वमङ्गल माङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थ साधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणे नमोस्तुते। सृष्टिस्थिति विनाशानां शक्ति भूते सनातनी गुणाश्रये गुणमयी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। शरणागत दीनात परित्राण परायणे सर्वशान्ति जय नारायणी नमोस्तुते जय नारायणी नमोस्तुते जय नारायणी नमोस्तुते जय नारायणी नमोस्तुते। जय महामाई की जय। जय भगवान श्री रामकृष्ण देव की जय। जय स्वामी जी महाराज जी की जय।
Hello, check. Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Sure Satchit Sukhasvarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. So we were discussing this lecture, God in Everything by Vivekananda, and we had concluded by this statement: if you put God in your every movement, in your conversation, in your form, in everything, the whole scene changes, and the world, instead of appearing as one of woe and misery, will become a heaven. And we had basically said last time that this particular discussion here is pointing a finger, or is pointing us out to a particular practice which the Christians call practice of the presence of God, which the Buddhists call the practice of mindfulness, because there is no belief in any overall God controlling things in that. And in Vivekananda's Karma Yoga, it's basically putting one's full mind to every bit of action that one does. Essentially the same thing as mindfulness. So we'll refer to it as mindfulness henceforth, or the practice of the presence of God. The next paragraph, he talks about essentially the Christian perspective on this, and essentially draws the parallel between what we've been discussing so far, and points out that the real resolution, the real way that this existential problem can be addressed, is by a more inward direction of one's mental faculties. So he starts off with, the kingdom of heaven is within you, says Jesus. So says the Vedanta and every great teacher. He that hath eyes to see, let him see, and he that hath ears to hear, let him hear. The Vedanta proves that the truth for which we have been searching all this time is present and was all the time with us. In our ignorance, we thought we had lost it and went about the world crying and weeping, struggling to find the truth, while all along it was dwelling in our own hearts. There alone can we find it. This is the resolution. This resolution is not to be sought outside, but within ourselves, in the deepest realms of our individual psyche, not outside. In books and temples, in this Song of the Sannyasin that Vivekananda has composed, it says, in books and temples, vain thy search. Thine alone is the hand that holds the rope that drags thee on. When seas lament, let go thy hold. Yeah? That's how he describes it. What does it mean? This clinging, this experience of pain and sorrow and misery that we have, most of it is essentially our own making. In the sense that there are certain things that we cling to, hold on to, and when we are asked the reason why we are clinging to it, we say, oh, such and such thing has to happen, and then only shall I have some joy or satisfaction. And you ask, why? Why does such and such a thing have to happen? And we don't bother to ask ourselves this question, but if we do, then after a little bit of inquiry, we basically come to the conclusion, there is no real reason. It's just that somehow or the other, we have convinced ourselves that if after this half an hour of discussion, if I don't go and have tea, I will have a source of dissatisfaction. Who has said this? It's just my habit that is responsible. Nobody has told it to me. There is no law, natural law guiding the universe that forces me to have dissatisfaction if I don't have a cup of tea at such and such a time. It is just something that we have made ourselves creatures of habit. This being creatures of habit has a name, has different names in different traditions. And somehow or the other, we tell ourselves that these habits that we have formed, which continue to give us dissatisfaction, continue to give us pain, these are inevitable. These are inevitable concomitants of one's personal existence. There's no reason for it. It's just that we have told ourselves that such and such a thing is to be. No reason. And so, we go around seeking this satisfaction in externals without bothering to ask ourselves, do I really need this? This question asked of ourselves, do we really need this? Do I really need this to lead a life of satisfaction and fulfillment is the beginning. There are certain habits which are difficult to quit, and these definitely contribute to the greatest dissatisfaction. For example, suppose one has some habit of there are people who would very often feel that, look, food has to be had at such and such a time in such and such a way. You go to a different place, a new place, and say, oh no, this is not food to my liking. Why? The only reason is that for 20 years of my life or 25 years of my life, I have just become accustomed to a certain kind of food served in a certain kind of way. No other reason. The only reason there is habit, force of habit. Once we recognize that it is just this force of habit, then whatever be the external circumstances, we make ourselves flexible enough to adapt to these situations, and things which earlier would have given us dissatisfaction, pain, sorrow, cease to have their hold on us. This is precisely the thing. The source of satisfaction, or source, in this particular case, the source of absence of dissatisfaction, is there within us all the time. And we seek it. Who has changed this habit? Anybody from outside? No. Who has changed our mental attitude towards externals? We ourselves. So very often we change a habit and realize that things that were causing us pain 10 days back no longer causes us dissatisfaction, no longer causes us pain. What has happened? It's exactly that. Let go thy hold. Yeah? So that habit that we had caught hold of with great strength and tenacity is something we have just let go. By various kinds of reasoning, we basically asked ourselves, is there really some reason why I hold on to this preference and not that? And in the absence of a satisfactory answer, the mind lets go of these habits. This is all that is involved. So, they say basically, what exactly does this seeing God in everything mean? It's essentially Vedanta says, Drishting Jnanamayam Kritva Pashed Brahmamayam Jagat. It's this drishti, the way we look at the world, our world view, so to speak. That needs to change. Not the external, not the objective universe where we perceive various things. It's our subjective reaction that needs to change. That's all. And once we've understood that there's this much larger, vaster set of laws or plans according to which the world moves, and we adjust ourselves to that, the pain goes away. Because there's an acceptance. There's an acceptance that no person is going to lead a life of unmitigated sorrow. No person is going to lead a life of unmitigated joy. Which means these things will come and go. All that will happen is that they will cease to have the capacity to throw us off balance. What is required? Instead of struggling, crying and weeping to find the truth outside, we find that it is dwelling in our hearts. There alone can we find it. Not outside, not in temples, not in books, but the cause of our satisfaction, the cause of our dissatisfaction, the cause of our joys, the cause of our woes, are always there within us. It's just that we do not hunt for these things where they are, but we hunt for these things for joy and and absence of pain outside, in external things, without hunting for it where it actually has been hidden. And we've mentioned this story. This is a story of this Persian mystic, Mullah Nasiruddin. So these were little anecdotes. This particular one I've read in a translation by this great film director who was also a writer, Satyajit Ray. He talks about Nasiruddin, who says basically that he's hunting for a key underneath a lamppost. And a friend comes along and says, "What are you hunting for?" "I'm hunting for my key. I've lost it." "Where did you lose it?" "Oh, I lost it in my home." And he asks, "But why are you hunting for it here?" "Well, you see, there's light here, so I'm hunting for it here. Why should I hunt for it inside my room where there is dark?" This is sounds like a casual joke, but it's really the situation with all of us. Yeah? And we are doing something equally ridiculous. We try to hunt for these little satisfactions, these little joys, where we are guaranteed not to find it because we haven't lost it outside. We've really lost it within ourselves. It is our habits, our subjective habits, that have caused us to lose sight of this source of unconditional joy and satisfaction that wells up within us all the time. All the time, really. And so, what exactly do we need to do? Can we catch hold of this at every moment? This moment, we are looking at various things. We are deriving some satisfaction from all of that. Can we catch hold of that faculty that goes out through our senses and looks at that world? That faculty, which we call consciousness, is there with us every moment of our existence. Can we catch hold of that now? That presence. Yeah? In Christopher Isherwood's, we were listening to this reading some days back. Christopher Isherwood, great novelist, he had written this book on Ramakrishna. It's called Ramakrishna and His Disciples. And what he mentioned is that in his presence, there was this tremendous focus on the now. The past brings with it regrets. The future brings with it fears. But in the now, there are no regrets. There is no waiting. There is no lamenting. There is no waiting for the future. There is no lamenting about a past that is gone. Rather, there is this focus on the now, on the one thing that we have guaranteed to us, which is the present moment. And the present moment passes barely noticed by us. Can we focus on that? Once that is done, and once we can hold on to this focus on this present moment over and above everything else, it does not matter what ideology one subscribes. So it's here in this present moment that the resolution needs to be sought. And that's what was being instructed here. So what really needs to be given up? That's the question that he's addressing at the next moment. And here, again, he makes this misunderstanding of giving things up clearer. If we understand the giving up of the world in its old, crude sense, then it would come to this, that we must not work, that we must be idle, sitting like lumps of earth, neither thinking nor doing anything, but must become fatalists, driven about by every circumstance, ordered about by the laws of nature, drifting from place to place. That would be the result. But that is not what is meant. We must work. Ordinary mankind, driven everywhere by false desire, what do they know of work? The man propelled by his own feelings and his own senses, what does he know about work? He works who is not propelled by his own desires, by any selfishness whatsoever. He works who has no ulterior motive in view. He works who has nothing to gain from work. Herein, what is being explicated is the real meaning of giving up. This giving up of one's hold on various things is being explicated here. Usually, as soon as this kind of a discussion is done and somebody hears of it, the knee-jerk reaction is give up every work and become idle. That's not what is meant at all. Why is that not the case? See, usually, our usual motives for work are basically the desire to get something out of it. We go from here to a place B. I have to meet such and such a person. I have to do some duty there, or I derive some benefit from interacting with such a person. This is our usual motive for doing work. And therefore, if we are to give up these desires, we immediately conclude, oh, if we give up work, give up anything, it means that we must be just idle, not move around anywhere. But this is a misunderstanding, is what is being said. Again, a little bit of introspection is required. When I go and meet a person, can we do the same thing without expecting anything in return? What binds us is this irrationally imputed reason for work. We have told ourselves, we have convinced ourselves that for any work I do, I have to get such and such a thing in return. And this motive, it could be something very noble, it could be something very tangible, it could be something that's much less. But whatever it is, there is this personal benefit that is supposed to accrue to me. This is an assumption we work under. And once that assumption is there, we therefore say, whenever we hear give up something, it means give up the work that was leading to that fruit for myself. Instead of basically asking ourselves, was it really this giving up of this activity that was being asked? No. What was being asked is a change of attitude. Continue doing exactly the same thing that you were doing, but without expectation. Without the expectation that such and such concrete benefit would accrue to me as a result of such and such work. It is this habit of thinking that is being asked to be changed, nothing else. Don't give up any external work. Don't give up behaving normally with other human beings, but retain this poise. This poise is disturbed every time we perform some act expecting something in return. What has happened? Anytime we act expecting something in return, we have put our source of satisfaction in somebody else's hands. Now that person or the situation, it could be an individual, it could be circumstances, those are going to proceed along their own lines. Most of the time we have no control over these things. But we expect such and such a thing from either the circumstances or an individual. And then what has happened is that really we have outsourced our satisfaction. We have outsourced our joy. Instead of hunting for it within ourselves, we have told ourselves, no, it's not really within me, it's actually there in that person's hands. If that person does not act in such and such a way, or if circumstances don't change and give me these things, then I will be miserable. That's all that has happened. And so, the meaning of giving up is not in terms of giving up food. It is not in terms of giving up work, but changing the attitude behind this. It's doing the same things, but without expecting things. Because it's the expectation that brings dissatisfaction, not the actual circumstances. It is this kind of thinking, this kind of introspection, that is the basis of these preliminary things about Jnana. Yeah? That's what gives us knowledge. It's essentially this awareness that there is no force, either with any other individual, no force in circumstances that can take away what is legitimately mine by force. And that recognition brings great strength, great satisfaction, because if you are convinced that there is this wealth and nobody can touch it, this source of satisfaction that nobody can touch, nobody can affect, and that it is there with me all the time. In the pits of misery, in the peak of joy that poise is not lost. Which means circumstances may come and go. One may praise, another may blame, but the source of satisfaction remains untouched. And then alone does one proceed with one's work without any tension, without any worry. Why? Tension is a kind of fear. It's basically a kind of fear. Worry is a kind of fear. It's essentially this uncertainty about the future, this worry about what the future will bring. If instead one has caught hold of the present moment and has understood that in this moment itself is there all satisfaction, all joy, all bliss, who is going to take it away from me? This understanding is there independent of whether you are working, whether you are eating, whether you are resting. It is in this moment, in the eternal now, that this mystery has to be penetrated and understood. And then all work becomes free. There is nothing one expects. All work is done for a larger cause, bringing benefit to others without affecting oneself. Why? Because one has trained one's mind in order to free itself from these habits of expecting something in return. That's the meaning of this statement. He works who has nothing to gain from work. This is there in Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, where Krishna says that, look, I have nothing whatsoever to gain from what I do, but at the same time, I never cease to work. Just let's ask ourselves, if we are quiescent, taking rest, are we not breathing? Are we not moving around when we are in our rooms? Isn't our physiology working overtime? Isn't that really work that is going on in this system to keep this body-mind complex alive? So, no moment can there be where there is no work, which means just be aware that this work is going on, something about which we are not very conscious, but it goes on and on. Can we tune ourselves to this constant flow of work? Can we tune our psyche to it? The sun rises, the earth turns, all that is work. It goes on and it gives us the sunlight for free. The wind blows and cools us, does it for free. All this natural action that is going on in nature around us, can we not be part and parcel of it? What happens then? Then in this moment, this perception, this larger perception of this work that is going on, independent of our agentship, starts dawning on our consciousness, and one becomes slowly accustomed to the fact that there's this much larger thing going on, and this little I with which I was obsessed and thinking that, okay, I have to do this, without it, such and such thing is not going to happen, that obsession starts decreasing. And as this obsession starts becoming thinner and thinner, it obscures our view less and less, till we start behaving as if we are part and parcel of a much larger system, without an obsession with these puny little things that we attribute to ourselves. This business about regrets and fears, I think we've mentioned this here. There's this book of poems by Omar Khayyam. He's a great astronomer, mathematician, poet, Persian again, whose book called the Rubaiyat. There he says, the cup that clears today of past regrets and future fears. Clears today, this moment of past regrets and future fears. It's in the moment that the solution has to be sought. It's in ourselves, in the deepest recesses of our individual psyche, from which the very notion of time emerges, from which the very notion of the past and the future emerge. It is at that stage of our psyche on which space and time logically depend. There we need to hunt for the solution, not outside. Whatever is outside is caught within this framework of time and space, but it is we who give credibility to that. It is we who grant reality to that. But what is it that grants reality to all this? How wonderful must it be? That source of wonder, that source of eternal wonder is there within each of us. And that source of wonder is what we are being asked to catch hold of in this very moment, because it's this very moment of existence that cannot be taken away from us. I'll conclude with, there is this book by Abraham Pius. He's a historian of science and he's a physicist at some level, and he had written this book on Einstein. And the top picture, the front picture, was that of Einstein, basically with his hands in his pockets, staring at the heavens with this complete wonder on his face. It is this moment where we look around and see this wonder of all existence. That moment is captured. It's as if it's captured in that picture. Yeah? And later on, Einstein discovered that the noblest human emotion is that of wonder. It is this wonder there with us every moment, which allows us to do all the things that we regard as higher human aspirations. But it is not something that is confined only to scientific geniuses like Einstein. It is not something that is confined to great musicians and artists, or only to these religious giants. It is there, it's the birthright of each one of us. Can we catch hold of this in our own psyche and try to hold on to this present moment? For the next 6 months, I will be away, so we will resume this again only in July. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.